All right, so I'm sorry, guys. What's going on? I'm having a little trouble with some internet thing, so I couldn't tell exactly what's going on. But if you guys or anybody pops in, please let me know if you can hear me. Sheets, you can hear me, right?
I can hear you fine.
All right, I'm having trouble hearing Sheets, but I guarantee it's probably on my end. I don't really know why. I'm at my family's house. It should be fine, but it's been a little shaky. So I guess we get into it. We haven't talked a little bit of golf in a while. Sheets, anything you want to talk about this specific tournament? We know it's a small cut and obviously another signature event. So any thoughts you want to mention about one and done or anything like that before we jump into
Well,
the
we'll get to one and done after, I think. But yeah, I'm doing actually pretty well in the one and dones. I'm in like seventh place in the Rick Run Good right now. So which is means I'm in the money. Which means I have to worry about actually cashing in this first segment, where normally I would be a little bit more aggressive about saving guys. I think I owe it to myself to try to cash. So I'm going to be. I'll be playing guys that have chances to win. Let's put it that way. So
yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm asking right now if they can hear you because I couldn't hear any of it, unfortunately. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly what's going on because I for some reason can't hear you and everything that comes through on my end is like hiccuping, even though everything else seems to be working fine. So I'm very confused.
Okay.
But guys, let us know if you can hear Sheets, if you can hear me, and then at least we'll know which end it's on. So maybe we want to, I can jump out and log back in if I need to. All right. I guess we're going to try to get into it. I'm going to share my screen here and we'll go sort of by our tiers like we always do. Let me get this straight. And just a reminder, bear with us. This is still new the way it's going. Let me see why. There we go. Share screen. And we're going to go to the window and we'll go to my DraftKings screen. Okay. All right. So obviously, the biggest question people are going to have first off the bat is what to do with Scotty. I am probably going to take an underweight stance, but where do you stand with the 10K plus guys? We've got 4 of them this week, and I think I know what I'm doing. I think you're going to probably be able to guess it, but what are you doing in this 10K range?
I don't have any problem with playing Scotty just because again it's not a no cut event, but it's close. Which means that these cheapos are kind of in business, which means that you can get Scotty in with little difficulties. So I mean, he's got, he's minus 300 to win or whatever compared to like minus 800 for the next guy. I mean, like it's tough. It's a tough fade, and he hasn't, just to say he hasn't gotten off to the best of starts in tournaments is quite the understatement. But I mean, another way to look at it is, he's still competing for top 5s and 10s every freaking week, even spotting the field 10 strokes. It's ridiculous. So I have no problem. I have no problem playing Scotty. And then under that, I mean, again, you can play wherever you want because of the way the pricing is. I think Fleetwood is fine. I think Rory is fine. Again, I think you probably want to play one of those 3, either Scotty, Rory, or Fleetwood. I don't think you need to just play, just throw out the 3 most likely guys to win if you can afford to get them. So I think most of my lineups are going to have one of those 3 at least.
Yeah, I feel that a lot of them will. I actually like some of the builds that I was sort of playing around with the 9K range because I think you can get a few. You can actually get a few of those guys in there. It's sort of a different way of playing. I will be heaviest on Fleetwood, and again, you get a significant drop down, not just from Scotty, but it's a pretty significant drop from Rory to him too. And look, he doesn't absolutely have to win at this. And we've got a lot of guys who could win in the next year, but I do think that Fleetwood this is an especially good week. And he's bounced, he's come right back and he's looked great, even though he hasn't probably had his like absolute best putting stuff. So I'm big on Fleetwood this week. I have it Fleetwood, more McIlroy, then Scheffler. I don't know what I'm going to end up doing with Xander. I'm probably going to let my the builder at Pater over here at Pater decide what I do with Xander, but I am definitely heavier on the other 3, and I just haven't, we haven't seen the 4 good rounds quite out of Xander yet, although he's definitely looked better lately. All right, let's drop down into the 9K range. Pretty loaded, obviously, with it being a signature event. Sheets, I'll let you go ahead here, and who do you like most from this range? Because I sort of like everybody, but
this is what you're going to get to if you don't play Scotty. You're going to probably get I mean, you could play Rory and one of these guys if you wanted, or
Mhm.
you play 2 or 3 of these, whatever. My top guy in this range is Siwoo Kim. I mean, he just does nothing but hit fairways and greens. And he's definitely my favorite as far as value goes and all that stuff. Second guy is Fitzpatrick. Now Fitzpatrick, we'll get to one and done later. Fitzpatrick is probably going to be the most popular one and done play, and depending on which entry I have to deal with, I'll probably use him. But I like both Siwoo Kim and Fitzpatrick, both in both formats, by the way. Those are my two favorites. I am not. Maybe this could be the holy war of the day. I'm not a believer in the Morikawa quite yet. He basically had been terrible for it seems like forever, and then he comes out like a couple of weeks ago out of nowhere it seemed, and now all of a sudden he's like one of the top rated guys to win the tournament. Honestly, he's like rated like 6th, 7th, or 8th best. It depends on ownership. I have him only at 15% owned, so it's not that big of a deal. But I have him below the others. So I have Siwoo Kim, then I have Fitzpatrick, and actually I do have Morikawa third, and then everybody else below them.
Yeah, I guess I don't think we have to get the holy war about it, but I do have the Morikawa as my number one here. I've seen what I was hoping to see, and I honestly feel like he should have won that tournament last week against. I think he should have gone back to back. I really liked the way he looked at Genesis. The putting is all over the map. But I'm okay with a guy like that here. So I don't know where I'm going to end up with, but I do currently have him as my number one. I actually have Hideki as my number two, and I think he's going to be lower owned. That's partially what I'm letting affect my decision. So I have it Morikawa, Hideki, then Henley. And I like Siwoo as well, but I just have those three a little bit ahead of them. And I love Fitzpatrick, but I think Fitzpatrick is the one who gets steamed here. At least that's what I was under the impression. Do you think he's going to be the highest owned here, or do you think Morikawa will be? Sort of seeing different things.
I think Fitzpatrick will probably be a little higher.
Yeah. So that I guess maybe, I mean, it's not that I really like Fitzpatrick. I actually think he makes a lot of sense in every way, but I just wanted to get, I thought, a little bit less ownership. So that's why I don't have them.
I also think that Siwoo is going to be popular as well.
Yeah. I mean, Siwoo, with what he's been doing, I think you're probably right. I mean, I think that range it's interesting though, because like you look, how are you going to play Scheffler and
you won't. You won't. That's why Scheffler will only be like 25% instead of something else. 75% of lineups will have like one of those, some of those other 9Ks. That's it.
Yeah. And by the way, and I'm not saying that we should expect it this week, but there will be a tournament where Scotty's priced, where I genuinely believe there's a chance he could win a tournament or come in second at least, and you could win without him. I think it's possible. We saw it with John Rahm a couple years ago at the U.S. Open. I always refer back to that he wasn't on any of the winning lineups when he won. I believe it was the U.S. Open that he won that time. I don't think it was the Masters. All right, so down in the 8K range, again, lots to like here, and I am probably going to take some weird shots. I certainly did with my betting card this week, so I'm curious to see if we have any of the guys that match up together here.
Yeah, I sort of disagree. Like I don't see too much in the 8K. Like for me, like my top rated guy in the 8K range is Ricky Fowler at 8K flat, and that doesn't make me feel good at all. I will tell you who I like this week. And whatever. And this guy was literally like first round last week. He hit every freaking green. I mean, he was just freaking cruising, and then he just couldn't make a putt. And then basically he cruised the entire rest of the week until the final 2 holes. So I actually like Shane Lowry again to come back at 8,100. He literally like. He had 2 bad shots in 4 days. You know what I mean? Like he was amazing. And he's 8,100. So I do like that. So those are my top guys. So Fowler and Lowry, and again, Fowler's never been my I was about to say something stupid. I was about to say, "Oh, he's never done anything for me." I guarantee I'll look back at my records and he will have won me
Right.
or something like that. Doesn't seem like he did anything for me.
Right.
So I think my top 8K guy would be Lowry, and then I guess Kitayama. He won this tournament before, if I'm not mistaken.
Did he?
And then Sam Burns, but what has he done for me lately? I don't know. I'm probably going to be off of most of the 8Ks, honestly.
Yeah, I think that the builds are naturally going to keep people out of there, so I kind of want to get in there.
Okay.
My number one is Hovland, actually. We do a lot of all over the map stuff on him in general, and I sort of have trouble figuring out where he's at. I like the low ownership. I think he has an excellent chance to actually, when he competes, I think he has like a chance to win this tournament. So I'm with you on Lowry. Lowry's my number one here. Hovland's my number two. Hovland, they're 1 and 1A. And then I am going to bet on the long term and just keep going back to the Oberg thing. He has not played well, but if you look at how he's starting these tournaments, look at these first rounds, the last couple, at Pebble, where it looked like he was going to miss the cut, and he ended up battling back. And then he battled back at actually Pebble, I don't think had a cut. He battled back at Genesis after being way down. I think at one point he was like 5 over on day 2, and really battled back. So I really like. I think Oberg is going to turn it around at some point, and I'd like to be there for it. So those are my 3 from this range. I have to just mention that I'm afraid of not playing Chris Gotterup, because I feel like every time I actually watch this guy, he looks like the best player in the world, not named Scotty Scheffler. So a little nervous, but right now I don't have much of him. I'm not sure if that's going to change. But yeah, those are my favorite 3.
Yeah, from what it's worth, from what I've heard that Oberg, he was actually sick for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, he was, and I don't know if he had recovered. And I like these guys who have this struggling first round and then bounce back. I always feel like good momentum coming in or whatever. I don't know.
Supposed to like the Rico Hoey's and the
yeah,
and
yeah, exactly. He's like instead of the opposite with the guys like Hoey. But I'll call Oberg right now the Temu Scotty Scheffler, because he's been doing the same thing with the terrible first rounds and then playing really well afterwards. All right, 7,500 to 7,900. This is, I think you're going to get some decent exposure to some of these guys here. My favorite play is in this range. So Sheets, I want to know who you think, but who is my favorite play on this slate?
Ooh, that's a good question.
And I think there's
2
guys I like a
favorite?
lot in this range.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought that. No, it can't be him. There's no way it's going to be him. It could be that guy. Boy, it could be that guy. I don't know. I got a couple of guys that I think it could be. I think
okay.
I'm gonna write it down.
Well, okay. Let me rephrase. He's my favorite guy. I might have a little less than I was going to, because I think that there's going to be some wind, and that might be his one slight downside a little bit. Although I don't think he's as bad.
Is that supposed to? Man, that's like supposed to be a hint. I just don't know what that means.
No, it's hard to know, because you literally.
I don't know. Is it Minwoo Lee?
No, I'll say my guy is Akshay.
Yeah. Okay. That was the other guy I was going to think about. I was between 3 guys for who I thought you were going to be your 3. One was Minwoo Lee. The other I thought was going to be Akshay, or the third was going to be Cootie. I thought those are the 3 that would have been yours. Why don't you like the win for Akshay's not that good in the win?
You'll hear mixtures of reports about how he doesn't play well in the wind, and then other people who actually say he plays really well in the wind. I think he's a creative golfer, and I just don't think that we're looking at a large enough sample size in general when we talk about it and where the guy's at the time. That's just my take. So I think it's a little overrated. Last week, the week before when he was leading, they're like, oh, but the wind's coming up, and he's struggle. All the announcers kept talking about how much he struggles in the wind. And then you could go listen to a podcast and talk to you about, oh, when I saw the wind coming up, I thought he was going to win because he's awesome in the wind. So you really get different opinions. And again, the sample sizes are tough to deal with, because you don't know where the guy was at whatever point. He's playing great now anyway. And I think he's a creative golfer who actually has an excellent chance to top 5 here. He's one of my top 5 long shot bets this week.
I like Cootie, and he's my favorite. And then why not go back to McNeely? Those are my top 2. And I don't think that either of those are going to be particularly low owned, but I mean, I don't think they're going to be like over 15 either. I mean, I think they're both going to be in there. So those are my two favorites. And Minwoo Lee, I have him also as I have him actually as my top rated, but for some reason it just doesn't jive with me. You know what I mean? Like I think I just rather play Cootie and McNeely than Minwoo Lee. I don't know how else to describe it. But yeah, so those are my favorites.
Yeah, I also I like Minwoo Lee as well, but I think my next favorite is I just am gonna feel like an idiot if I don't play him because I've been talking this guy up like crazy, and because he happens to win a tournament, I'm not supposed to play him anymore. I'm taking Bridgman. I'm not gonna miss out on what I think is very real at what's happening. So I'm big on Bridgman this week. Bridgman, Lee, and Akshay.
Well, you know what? Speaking of that, you know, we didn't talk about this guy in the upper range. Mm-hmm. But what do you think of the defending champion Russell Henley at 9,400? Do you like him at all?
I like him. I actually felt like, and it's funny because I actually love him for one and done. I think he's a terrific, like, sneaky one and done play. Okay. And yeah, like as you mentioned, he won this last year. He didn't look. He looked really bad last week, but that's look, we can forgive that. It's actually a place he should have played well, and he was pretty popular. So it's kind of, or it wasn't last week. It was the week, a couple weeks ago at Genesis. But I like him. I just found myself gravitating a little bit more to the other range, but I probably will be near the field on him. That's the way I've got it. But yeah, Akshay, Minwoo, and then Bridgman are my favorites in this under 8K range. I think I'll be pretty much near the field on guys like Justin Rose. The hardest one here is just like there's some shock value, especially at a course that he plays well at. Like I just want to wait on Justin Thomas. That's just where I'm at.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'd like to see a guy who hasn't played in forever coming off an injury. Give me a little more time. All right, 7K to 7,400 sheets. What do you got for me here?
Yeah, I think you played the top two rated guys that I have at kind of high ownership, like until they're like a more reasonable price. I think you keep playing Gerard. I think 7,200 just too low, regardless of what field he's in. And I think the Højgaard also at 7,200. I think both those guys, you just got to keep playing them until their price becomes more reasonable. They're both going to be, at least 15% owned, I imagine. But I like both of them. And then you don't want to like play a guy who's been sort of out of form or whatever, but kind of low for JJ Spawn at 7,100. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they were talking about him being like a 9K golfer, just a couple of weeks ago, and he hasn't come out of the gates particularly well, but I like that. So those are my top three: Højgaard and Gerard at ownership. They're going to be owned, and then also the JJ Spawn.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable to make a good case for just like taking a shot because I do think he's people sort of have this thing happens in the groupthink mentality. Oh, he's struggling. He's off now. We don't like him anymore, whatever. And just aware that's happening with Spawn. He hasn't played well, but I wouldn't be surprised if he turned it around. I totally agree about Højgaard and Gerard. They are my two favorites in this range, and I'm just going to point out about Nico Echeverria, just like he's such a weird, basically if he makes the cut, if he's within 10 strokes of the lead, he always ends up like somewhere in the top 10. You know what I mean? It feels like, and obviously he was very good to me last week, but actually I think my next favorite guy would be Sam Stevens. And I haven't heard his name as much as I thought I would. I like the way he's looked this year. So he would be my third one in this range. I'm still not sure what to do with Alex Noren because I feel like at some point we're going to be talking about him being too cheap, but he hasn't quite looked his best yet. All right, and this is a good week to have a number of under 7K guys, and as with all these signature events, we have a really good under 7K range. I'll put it that way. I think all these guys you can make good cases for a lot of them. So I'm curious to see who's on your radar here.
I got two,
okay,
and they're two completely different characters. One is Keith Mitchell. He has, top 10 upside and also missed the cut upside. Missed the cut downside. And then on the other hand, I have Corey Connors, who is, maybe top, 22 upside, and he's going to make the cut. So I like both those guys, and I don't really have too much more. So I'm curious to see who you like here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have to have some of these guys, especially if I'm going to consider some Scotty lineups, which I still am debating exactly what I'm doing with that. But I like Thorbjornsen. If I'm going to take, sort of similar to what, I mean, he had a bad week last week because he missed the cut, but like, he missed it on the number. He had a bad week at Pebble, but he looked great a few weeks back. He's just going to have some streaky results. So I think he's a very miss the cut possibility. And I think he's also a sneaky contender potentially. So I like him, not like overwhelming. I like Ryan Fox a lot, actually. I feel pretty good about Ryan Fox and where he's at. I also think Thigala. Those are the three at the higher tier that stuck out to me. And then I don't want to avoid Hisatsune. So these are, I mean, again, I'm probably going to end up with very little of the other guys because I'm kind of into those guys pretty heavily. And I will go right back to Austin Smotherman. I like the way he's looked. I like the way he's hitting the ball. Again, very good to me last week, obviously. I like going back to him at 6,400. I like Joel Dahman. I thought he was going to have a little bit of a breakout year, and he's done nothing to prove me wrong. He's looked very solid. The one who's going to get zero ownership, hasn't looked good, and finished second here last year, Michael Kim, is a little bit intriguing just at the low ownership part. Yeah. But my favorite at the moment is probably Aldrich Potgieter. I want to head on this kid in general. I want to, he's young and looked really, really good last week. You're going to get some variance with a guy like him, but I am willing to embrace it. And when he's going, he looks like, one of those guys. So I know I named a bunch of names, but I am going to be spread out quite a bit in this 6K range. So those are the ones I'm focused on the most. And this is an ownership game at the end of the day. Look, it's hard to get different with 6 of 6s when you have, 70 whatever players and 50 making the plus making the cut, probably 60 end up really making the cut. So you do want to find some differences, and those are some of the guys I thought of. All right, we're going to play the game sheets. By the way, did you mention who you were doing one and done? I couldn't hear you at that time.
I was going to do that afterwards, but
okay, yeah.
So top play, I will do that first. So again, top plays are to me are going to be Fitzpatrick, and then and again, it's depending on what your entry is like. Like if you have an entry that's doing well and you don't want to take a lot of risk, I think Fitzpatrick's a good play. I mean, he's has a good winning chance this week. He's it's not like the top tournament. Is there like 4 or 5 tournaments better than this? And he's like your 5th best, most likely to win this week. It's kind of a nice pure play. It's going to be kind of owned, so that's whatever. And if you're really doing well in something, you just want to cash in something that's up soon. I literally cannot argue against playing these top 3 guys. Like either like Fleetwood or Scheffler or what's his name or Rory. What I will say is that I think that if you're between those 3, you could sort of, I think, get sneaky with Fleetwood because Fleetwood comes with this notion that he doesn't win. You know what I mean? Yeah. He comes with this notion that he's good for 7th, good for 6th. He didn't win in the United States until he was in a 30-person field. So I think that of those top guys, I think Fleetwood, relative to his chances of winning, as described by what was going online, is going to be probably lower owned. So I like that. As far as like punts or something, I mean, I like Siwoo Kim also. Mm-hmm. As far as punts go, like guys that are not within that top group, I don't know. I really honestly don't have too much. I think that this week you got to stick with those top guys. So I would say Fitzpatrick, then Xander, Kim, and depending on how your lineup is doing, that's how far down you want to go. Like if you want to go down to something like Morikawa or Xander, that's probably want to take a little more chances. So those lineups are probably not looking so great. But the ones that are looking great, maybe play Scotty or Rory or Fleetwood.
Yeah, I hear you. I like the get different. I don't think Morikawa is going to be overly owned, and I actually do like him quite a bit. I think that there's a sneaky case to be made for a very unowned Russell Henley. So that would be my other low owned guy.
Who would be a good one like that? If you're right about him, and your other tier is Oberg.
Yeah, I thought about it with him. The only problem is I actually do want to save him because I think at some point this year he'll be
right.
really in form.
He'll be better later in the year than he is now. Right.
Right. And or is this the breakout time? There's a case for that too.
Right.
All right. So Sheets, who's going to win this tournament? And you're welcome to take the guy who you know, like we take our guys, and I think I know who you're taking.
No, I'm gonna go with Rory, actually.
That's what I was going to take. All right, Sheets with Rory, and because you said Rory, I'm going to have to go back to the same guy I've said the last. And look, he hasn't won. He finished fourth. He finished seventh the last two tournaments. It's not like he's been terrible for where I thought of him. But I will take Fleetwood, and I think he's going to.
Haven't you read? Don't you know that he can't win? That he has no winning upside. All he does is finish eighth. I mean, how?
And yet he goes to the DP World Tour, and every time he just freaking wins again.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not buying any of it with the Fleetwood. I'll go to him. You know what? I probably should. I guess I could just save him for the top five, but I'm going to say Fleetwood. I think he's got a very, very solid chance to win here. And I don't think I'm hurting anybody if anybody's following us and actually trusting what I'm saying, because he's probably going to end up in the top five somehow anyway. So whether he wins or not.
So we'll snake draft. So you can now take who's under 10K that's going to get top five.
Okay, under 10K to top five for me is going to be kind of debated on this one a little bit. I think I'm gonna mention a guy who I considered, because we didn't talk about him, was Jake Knapp. I forgot to mention him in that 8K range. But I actually think that I'll stick with Morikawa for me.
And the guy I picked to finish top five, he's gonna actually come in exactly fifth. And that's gonna be Siwoo Kim.
Siwoo Kim, okay.
I wonder if you can play someone to come exactly fifth.
And what about, like, it'd be cool if, like, there was like a no ties counted or something, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that would be the real funny one, because then you got to sweat no matter what.
Yeah.
Like,
so I'm gonna take Siwoo Kim top five. All right, so I'll go again. So under 9K, top 10. That's rough, because I didn't like too much in the 8Ks.
That's right. It's not your range.
I'm gonna have to do it though, and I'm gonna have to go with the Shane Lowry.
Shane Lowry, I like it. I think he's very reasonable. That's really reasonable here. I think I considered going down to the 7K range, because a lot of guys I like there, but I think I'm just going to stick with my Hovland take. I have a feeling about Hovland this week, so I'm gonna go with Hovland as my top 10 guy. So
you could stay with you now, under 8K to go top 20.
Under 8K to go top 20. I'm going to say Akshay.
All right, I'm going to flip a coin between these top two. I'll go. I mean, the correct answer is both Højgaard and Gerard, but yeah. I'll just go. I was about to say which is the lowest owned. They're both exactly the same and the exact same salary. So I will say both. No, I have to pick one. So I will say Gerard.
Okay. I like both of those picks as well. All right, under 7K to we say the best one to make the cut, because there's going to be a lot of cut.
Oh, definitely Corey Connors.
Corey Connors is he's under 7K. It's so hard not to just want to click that button, because it feels very safe. So I'm kind of into that idea. This is a tough one for me, because I kind of want to make my statement. So I'm saying the best one under 7K. I'm gonna say Potgieter.
Okay.
I like this kid, and the one.
So we're not doing make the cut with this. We're doing the top performer.
I was saying the top guy under 7K, because
then I'm changing. I'm going to say Mitchell.
Okay, you're going to say Mitchell. Okay.
Yeah, because Mitchell I think has upside. I think Corey Connors is more likely to make the cut.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. All right. Yeah. Then the other one I was going to say would have been Dahmen. I just want to throw that out there, because I just have I think he's going to surprise some people this year and have some really big runs in some big tournaments.
All right, so this is rough, because
this is really rough to miss the cut on over 9K.
9K to miss the cut.
Can I also take my top 5 guy to be the guy? I can't take Morikawa in both.
As long as it's over 9K.
It's tempting. All right, I'm gonna hope he does what he did. Look, it didn't cost you anything at the Olympics when he did it, and I like him this week, but I don't think any of these guys are missing the cut. I'm gonna say Siwoo.
Yeah, and I'll go Cameron Young, I guess.
Okay, fair enough.
And we did the one and done stuff. So I think we're in business.
All right, sounds good. And I'm gonna be. I'm just. It's my first tournament using the pay dirt tools. We'll see how it goes.
Yep.
I'm gonna also be putting my own stamp on and trying to figure out how to.
Well, you were threatening greatness last week, right?
Yeah, we had a real shot there. I ended up tied for no, I didn't tie. I ended up in fifth in the lottery. I played 50 lineups too, so it wasn't like I loaded up.
Amazing.
But the one guy I hand put in, the best thing I did was I hand put in a minimum of 10% of Echeverria, and I hand put in a minimum of 11%, which is not a crazy amount.
I have to say, people are going to leave here, but I have to bring up another guy. I apologize, everybody.
What's that?
Because it's part of the contract. We have to do this. I said this before, that until this guy became like a reasonable price or 30%, we have to keep playing him. We have to play Sahith at 6,800.
Yeah, totally. I'm with you there too.
Yeah. So I'm going to replace Mitchell, Bob, by the way.
I like that. Okay. Yeah, I like that better.
With top performer under 7K. And yeah, so again, for those of you that hung in there till the end, I literally, because honestly, I mean, like, he's not rating all that high for me.
Right.
But he is actually like right under Thor Bjornsson. He's not my fourth favorite under 7K. He's not rated very high, but he's just too cheap. That's just my.
And if he gets it going, top 5 is not surprising anybody.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, good to see you. Good luck to everybody. I will post all my exposures and everything. I posted my betting card for the week on our PGA channel at Paydirt.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that. Oh, great. That's awesome.
I've been doing the Kalshi bet. I haven't had a losing one yet, but I haven't won anything huge, but it's been solid.
Nice.
All right. Good luck, everybody, this week. And hopefully we see some names at the top of the leaderboards and we have a Sunday sweat. Good luck.
Sounds good.
All right, buddy. Take it easy.